Welcome to the Routledge Handbook of Global Public Policy and Administration, especially to Chapter 1, Public Policy and Administration in an Era of Globalization. My name is Thomas Klesson, and I am one of the co-editors and also one of the co-authors of both the book itself and of the first chapter. Public policy and administration are central parts of our lives as citizens and central to, in fact, the way that our societies operate. Public policy is setting the goals for government, and public administration is implementing those goals in the forms of public programs. That can be from picking up garbage, to building roads, to public schools. Public policy and administration have, of course, a long history. And in fact, we could think about public policy and administration as being one of the foundations of civilization, as when people gathered together, created what we now call government, and then have to make decisions about what to do as a group. There have been arguably four big changes that have impacted public policy and administration recently. Now, recently isn't 10 or 20 years, but about 200 years. The first is the rise of democratic forms of government. The second is the rise of the welfare state. The third is the application of the scientific method. And the fourth is globalization. The rise of democratic forms of government is important in understanding public policy and public administration because in democratic systems of governance, citizens have more say in the sense that we elect politicians and then those politicians are to implement our will. And of course, as soon as that's the case, then politicians need to pay attention to how government operates in a much greater way than, say, in a monarchy or in a dictatorship or some other form of government. The welfare state refers to government taking a bigger role for the health and well-being of citizens. Now, this is a more recent trend, say after the Second World War, when public education, public health care, programs to help the old and injured, like pensions, came into being. So now, at the present, we have a much bigger role of government in the lives of citizens. And of course, there's debate, is that role too big, too small, is government doing too much or too little? But the fact is that government is a lot bigger today than 100 years ago, and that has impacts for public policy and administration. As the importance and the role of government and of public policy and administration started to grow, then at the same time there was greater emphasis placed on using science and the scientific method to figure out how to best provide services to citizens, how to operate efficiently, operate effectively, and several scientific disciplines, economics, political science, and others, have grown to be important in how to study public policy and administration, and also in how to deliver the programs and services that are delivered by government. The last important change that's occurred, and in fact this is what is the focus of the handbook, is that public policy and public administration they've moved from being something that happened only at the local level or the regional, but have moved not only to become national but international. They've become global, so that currently, for the first time in history, there's a global component to the study and practice of public policy and administration. Now, globalization is one of these words that's often used and has many meanings, but for the context of public policy and administration, what it means is that there isn't any country, any region, or any group of scholars that has a monopoly on expertise, on innovation, on excellence, on best practices when it comes to public policy and administration. And it also means that there are more aspects of public policy that have global implications, global aspects or impacts. So environmental policy, global warming, public health, financial regulation, and many others are global issues and require global policies and often even global administration. This handbook on global public policy and global public administration is meant for three groups. The first group is for new students or for people who are just beginning to have an interest in public policy and administration. And for those, this book, the pages that follow the first chapter, are a way to engage with a specific topic or a group of topics and to gain an overview of public policy and administration as a whole. The second group of readers of this book are for people who have some experience or background or knowledge about public policy and administration, either students who've studied it already a little bit, or for scholars who are experts, and also for those who have a longer-term interest. And for those readers, the book is a way to help you keep on top of the most recent developments and to stimulate your interest in further studies. The last group of readers of this handbook are for public administrators and public policy experts, analysts employed in government or in other public organizations, or even perhaps in the private sector. For these people, this is a reference book to turn to when faced with new or recurring challenges in your daily work, to give you some new perspectives on how to work smarter, work better, work differently. So it's very much a book that's meant for three different groups of people, all of whom share a common bond, which is their interest in public policy and administration, especially at a global level. The handbook is composed of three parts. The first part, the first section, titled Contemporary Challenges of Public Policy and Administration, a Global Perspective, explores the key challenges faced by public policy makers and administrators, as well as taking a look at the discipline of public policy and public administration. The focus of this first group of chapters is on how public policy and administration is increasingly in all parts of the world somehow tied to regulating capitalism. That is, how government imposes rules on the operation of the free market, whether it be in Asia, in the Americas, or anywhere else in the world. The second part of the book, titled Cross-Sector and Cross-Level Policy and Administration Responses, looks at how public policy as an academic discipline, but as well how public policy and administration as something that occurs in governments or in agencies tied to government, how they've reacted to the challenges of the 21st century, especially those posed by regulating capitalism. So in this section, there are chapters on citizen co-production, citizen engagement, risk, and other topics. The last section of the book, part 3, titled Forging a Resilient Public Administration, looks to the future and considers how public policy and administration can meet the needs of the 21st century. So in this part of the book, we look at cutting-edge topics, including strategic management, leadership, program evaluation, budgeting, e-government. And these three sections follow one another logically and draw from experts in all parts of the world writing about their own situations. We hope that this short slideshow has given you an introduction to the book. Feel free to check it out online. Feel free to email me as well, Thomas Klassen at York University in Toronto, Canada. Thank you for watching and listening. Goodbye.